Hello YouTube, and welcome. Checkmate here, and this is going to be episode 10 of our Let's Play Kerbal Space Program series. And in this episode, we are going to walk on the moon. That's the goal anyway. We're going to land on the moon and plant a flag and check off one of our 50 conditions for victory. So I want to go over a couple of things here. Let's look at the facilities that we have upgraded so far. Level 2 launch pad, Level 2 tracking station, Level 2 VAB, Level 2 mission control, and Level 2 R&D. And actually the astronaut complex also. These are still Level 1, the administration building, and the spaceplane hangar. Just wanted to go do a quick rundown. I wasn't sure if I might have upgraded something during my contract when I was working on getting some money up. So I just wanted to go over that. Now before we go to build our moon ship, let's look at the R&D. We have 400 points, and we need to spend a couple of them here. There's a couple of things we need to get. I can unlock 4 of these, and the 4 that I need, so I need all 3 of these here because I need to get this skipper for the ship that I want to build. So I'm going to grab that one, and I do need fuel systems because I need these fuel ducts and one of these tanks here. I want to grab landing here because I want to use these landing struts here. And let's see what else. I think I needed to grab propulsion systems too. See, we don't need this right now. We don't need this. We don't need this. I really don't need this. I'm going to save these just for now in case something comes up. I don't think I need any of these for the build I'm doing, so that should be good. Now let's look at the build that I'm going to take to the moon. Now I've already tested this in my test world, this ship, and I'll also say that I have practiced my moon landings several times. Just it's you know, first time you do it, it's very intimidating, and especially in this playthrough we have, you know, permadeath for the pilots and the crew, so I wanted to at least brush up, make sure that I knew how to do it properly before I went and put Kerbals in danger. And you know, they did that in the Apollo mission. They had simulators that they would let the crew, they practice landing over and over, so not really cheating. I just treat the test world as kind of like my astronauts running through a simulator. So let's build the lander section. We got our basic craft with a heat shield and a decoupler. This is what's going to return home with the parachute. Don't forget the parachute. Now I need a service bay and a science junior. We want to get pretty good bit of science here. I'm not going to be able to take as many science juniors as I want. It's just hard for me to fly the ship with these things stacked 3 or 4 deep, so I'm only going to take 1 to the surface. What's most important is to get that surface sample. Now inside here I'm going to stack 3 of these Z200 batteries, 2, 3, and then we'll use that to attach some science to. So I'm going to take 2 mystery goos, because I can do 2 on the surface. The second one, you get a little bit more out of the second one, so actually I think I'm messing up here. I had lock turned off. Let's see if we can lock it in here like that. Yeah, that's better. And then one on this side. It's always difficult getting things to snap into here. Alright, we'll just move it manually if we need to. Actually, I can just... and that'd be alright. And then of course we need a thermometer and a barometer. That's our science. And I do want to put some, I use these little dome lights, put 4 of these up in here. Make sure we got it flipped the right way. Okay, that'll work. And that's it for our science. So close that up. And now for the lander section, we're going to separate, so we're going to use our main engine to get into orbit around the moon. And once we're there, we'll separate, and we'll have this lander section that will land us on the moon and return us back. So I'm going to put 2 of these FL TX220s on here, like this. And for the engine, we're just going to use this Terrier engine, like that. And then the landing struts. Now, an issue I have every time when I land on the moon is this thing tries to tip over. So that's one reason I'm using these bigger tanks here on the bottom. It's a little bit of a wider base, so it gives us a wider footprint on these landing gears. The wider, the more stable it will be. And I'm putting one leg, I'm making sure to put one right in front of the door here, because a lot of times as soon as I go to do my EVA, it wants to tip over because you get extra weight on this side. So I think having one of the legs right at the door might help versus having it, like this. Now you've got a tipping point here potentially. So I'm going to put it here. It could still tip over, so we're going to have to really try to find a flat spot to land, but I'm going to go with this. Now I want these legs to be up as high as I can get them and the engine still clear the ground, because the higher I place these up, the lower my center of mass will be to the ground when we touch down. So that'll help some with tipping also. So that's the lander section, and that gives us, I guess I should go over the Delta V budget for this. So if we're looking at the Delta V map, we need to land on the moon, takes 580. So we have to land, and then we have to get ourselves back off the ground and into orbit again, so we'll need another 580. So that comes to 1160 just for the lander. Now that's not enough for me. 1160 is not nearly enough. I need it to be closer to this 2000. The last test I did, I was able to get back to Kerbin with this, and I had about 200 left over. So, and that was with some practice. So if you're building one of these for yourself, I would suggest give yourself way more than what the Delta V map says, because you know, with a perfectly efficient landing and return to Kerbin, maybe it's enough, but for me, I've got to have a lot more. I'm just not that good. Now, to get to the moon, we need, of course, I'm going to allow 3800 to achieve low Kerbin orbit, and then you need another 860 to get to the moon's sphere of influence, and that's usually about right. I usually come around 850-ish to get my moon encounter, and then you need another 310 to achieve an orbit around the moon. So that comes up to 4970, so we're shooting for around 5,000 Delta V plus the lander. So if we're somewhere around 7,000 total Delta V, we should be good. Now, for this section here, we need to be able to decouple, like so. And then we need to, I'm going to put a fairing over this, just to make my ascent through the atmosphere a little easier. Oh, I'm forgetting something first. One other thing I forgot to add is we need some solar panels. So I'm going to put around this section, I'm going to put 8. What is that? That's 2, 4, 8. That's 6. 8 solar panels around the Science Junior here. Alright, so I think that's everything we need on the lander. So let's go ahead and build this fairing. Get it down to here. Something like that. And turn it silver. Alright. So for our booster section, I'm going to go with some of these new ones that we unlocked. We're going to be getting these bigger tanks. I've got these so I've got these 800s here. I'm going to put, I'll use those for my boosters. For the main section, we're going to use these. Yeah, these. I need 4 of these, or actually 5 of these. So we'll put 5 of these on here. There's 4, 5. So we've got 5 of those with the skipper. This one has gimbaling, so that gives plenty of control. And that brings us up to, in a vacuum, 62, 66. So we need a little bit more, and also we don't quite have enough thrust to weight ratio here with just this engine. So what I did in my test world, I built a booster I used a liquid engine booster, and I used 2 of these per booster, so that'd be 4 of these. Like that. Actually, get these positioned right here. Now we can slide this whole section down. Yeah, like that. And just put a couple of Reliant engines on these here. I want to get these level, so let me move these back up a little bit. Alright. And a couple of aerodynamic nose cones. Now, we also, for the staging, all three of these are going to burn at the same time. And then when these, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these gas lines, where would it be? It's going to be here, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the small tanks to the big tank. Okay. If you look at the arrow, we can see the fuel is flowing from the small one into the big one here. You can actually fuel delivery overlay. You see it's flowing into this one here. And this one's only taking it. So what you do is use up your fuel in your booster section first, and you can shed those, and this will be full and still going. But this way we get our thrust to weight ratio at sea level. It comes up to right at 1.34, so that's good enough. And I'm going to paint these orange. Sections here. I wish you could paint the nose cone. Well, you can. That's right. So this gives us a vacuum delta V of 7,014, which is right where we said we needed it to be. Hatch obstructed. Why is my hatch obstructed? Talking about because of the fairing? Hatch can't open because it's blocked. Your crew will not be able to enter or exit. I think it's just because of the fairing, because there's nothing obstructing the hatch here. Yeah, I think we're good. Did mention Munar propellant. We'll take that out. Save us a couple of dollars. Cannot transmit science, but that's okay. We're not going to be transmitting any science. And missing ladder, but I'm going to use my RCS to get back and forth onto the lander. So I think this is it. I think we're good to go here. This should get us to the moon and back. So let's give it a shot. I've got Jebediah in here. I had some tourists. I guess I got some contracts I need to do. I need to finish up. I forgot about that. I'll take care of those off camera. Let's save this as Moon Crew Lander 1. Save that. And oh, one more thing. Almost forgot. So that we don't tip over on the launch pad. I'm going to move this down to where it's just above the concrete there. Alright. Let me put two of these on here. We'll go about little ways place about right here, because I have had, once you start building taller, and you know our footprint's really small actually, I have had these tip over on the launch pad before. So once you start building a little bigger, you might want to start putting these on there. And we have to check our staging. So what I like to do is fire the engines off first, and then right after I do that, I will dump these. So we got our 3 engines here. We'll fire them off. We'll blow our supports. Our boosters will burn until they're empty, and we'll separate them. Once we get out of the atmosphere, I'll blow the fairing off, and then we will make our moon encounter, get into orbit. And once we've got our orbit, we use some of the fuel that's left to kind of slow down our surface speed a little bit, and then we will blow all of this off, and we'll be left with our lander section. 2000 delta V on the lander should get us down to the surface and back into orbit, and get us an encounter with Kerbin. Once we've got back to Kerbin, and I know we're going to be good, we will separate that and leave us with just a capsule and a parachute. In theory. Let's give it a try. Let's go to the moon. Let's walk on the moon. Episode 10, kind of late to the game getting to the moon, but we will get there. So full throttle up, SAS on, and launch. Just like that. I'm going to try to keep a 90-degree heading as close as possible so that we match the plane of the moon. Tip over just a little bit and lock on prograde. And I'm going to follow that up until about 40 degrees or so, and then I'm going to turn this off and finish my ascent through the atmosphere at about 40 degrees, 40, 35 degrees, something like that, until I get my apoapsis up to about 75. Then we can cut our engines. Getting ready to blow the boosters here. And nice separation. Our heading's a little off, so I'm going to start correcting that. Pull that prograde vector back down to 90. And that's good enough. It's not a good circular orbit, but it'll do. Let's go to the moon now. So we'll set this as our target. And probably the moon's going to end up about right here. So we want to come off of here, so let's set us a maneuver back here. What? I hit the wrong. Let's add a maneuver here. And we'll burn prograde, get us out to the moon's orbit. So we have an encounter there. What does that look like? It's way out here. Let's see if I can adjust the timing on that. That's 858 delta V right there, and that gets us into 97. See if we can get that a little tighter. Perfect. About 17. Actually, let's get it up a little. Let's go with 20. If I can get a 20 kilometer, roughly 18 to 20 orbit, that should do nicely. Okay, so that'll be in 14 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and warp to that maneuver. We're coming in prograde here. It'll be a prograde orbit. And it'll be a 25-second maneuver. Speed up a little bit. Alright, here we go. And I'll start off in full throttle, and as we get closer, I'll scale it down. Then I get within about 100, and I'm going to reduce my thrust on my main engine so I can dial it in even more exact. Start throttling down because it'll get away from us. Let's cut it there. I'm going to reduce my thrusters quite a bit, and we're going to do a little more burning. I want to get this down to about 20. 60, 50, 40, 30, and 20. Very good. Alright, batteries are good. Let's check the orientation on the, should be good. I just want to make sure my panels are exposed to the sunlight before I start my warp. Yeah, we're getting good sun exposure. Let's go ahead and warp to our moon encounter. How'd we end up on our plane, on our... we're a little out of whack here. Probably should have corrected that before I got this close. Yeah, it'll be alright. Let's get this orbit capture. So we'll burn retrograde. And try to pull this into around 20. Too much. What's that? 23. That's pretty good right there. It's going to take us another 300. The Delta V map says 310 for this, so we're just under budget. And we want to position ourselves retrograde, and I'll warp to that maneuver node. It's taking its time. Alright, let's go ahead and warp to our maneuver. Let's look at the moon. Of course, always on the dark side of this thing. I will be landing on the light side though. I tried a dark side landing and that it worked, but where I landed was not very level and it was not very fun. Oh, my thrusters are turned way down. I probably need to correct that. Because that's going to be a 2-minute maneuver. That's a little better. 18 seconds. Speed up time a little. And mark. So I'm going to turn these numbers off because they're going to confuse me if I don't. And I want to see this periapsis here, and I want to see my apoapsis as we're doing this. Get them both roughly around 20. 20 by 20. I like it. Alright, we're in orbit. And I think I like this landing zone right here, right in the center of that crater. It's on the daylight side. And this is a relatively flat spot in here, I think. So why don't we go ahead and make this our landing spot. So I'm retrograde. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, so I've got quite a bit of delta V actually. I'm going to burn retrograde. We'll deorbit ourselves and see if we can slow some of this down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was fast. A lot faster than I was expecting. I don't want to. I want to have this past where I want to land. This is why we bring extra fuel to correct the boo-boos. So what I did, I hit full throttle instead of throttling up with my shift key. So what I've been finding is if I keep this out past where I intend to land by a little bit, that way I still have some decent altitude when I'm around here, and I can start doing my burn and just drop right down where I want to be. So that sheds some of that surface speed. We're still moving pretty fast. I guess it'll be alright. I'm going to go ahead and warp to the daylight here. And we're going to get rid of our booster section. I'm just orienting myself here where I've got the surface on the bottom. It just helps me remember my controls. This thing is slow to turn because I don't have any reaction wheels. All I have is what's in the capsule. We're already at 7,000 meters. Need to clear this little mountain range here. I'm going to go ahead and warp to here. See what it's looking like. Alright, this is our crater. If you look at the map, we're on the edge of this crater. So we want to be on past it some more here. Let's go into our landing gear before I forget. I'll just touch down right here. It looks pretty flat. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and land. Yeah, maybe not. Let's go a little further out. Maybe up in here. Just finding a flat spot is the trick. We don't have to be in a hurry. We do have... We're dropping about almost 100 meters a second though, so we do have to make a decision here pretty quick. But we do have some time. Looks like we're coming up on what I thought was a flat spot. Looks kind of rough out here. Alright, I'm going to start my burn. Now, if you look at the nav ball, you see the retrograde vector there. What I got to do is push that to the top of the ball. So I'm going to stay right under it. Push it to the top of the ball. When it's at the top of the ball, we'll be falling straight. So what we want to do is fall straight down. And I'm going to steer it. I'm going to move back and forth, throttle down a little bit. Cut my engines. Let's go retrograde. Pretty close. I want to get a little more on there. Okay. I'm currently falling 20 meters a second, 18. And we have an altitude of about coming up on 350. This is probably not the most efficient landing. I'm not terribly efficient. I'm probably a little more cautious than I need to be. But if I can get it about 4 to 5 meters a second when I land, I don't know if we're going to be on a slope. Alright, we got about 15 feet to go. Yeah, we're going to be on a slope. Not ideal. But we did it. That is touchdown on the moon. Now one thing I'm going to try to do, I hope this doesn't mess me up. I'm going to remove this one from symmetry, and I'm going to increase the spring strength on this leg and see if that'll push us up a little bit. Push this up a little bit. Alright, let's do some science right quick. Let's open these doors and turn on the lights. And let's get our mystery goo. What do we get? 32. Then we'll do the other one. It's going to say 32, but it'll end up being less when we actually turn it in. Let's log our temperature, barometer, and this Science Junior, conduct material study, 80. Excellent. And we want to take a crew report. Now let's do our EVA and hopefully it won't tip over. Nice, we didn't. Alright, an EVA report from the moon. And from here I can collect all the science. I think I can just get this one. Yep. It's so much easier if you can collect this science without having to fly around and get it. I'm wanting to collect all this because we're not returning with this section. We're going to let it burn up in the atmosphere. Right, store 7 experiments. Mystery goo already stored. Oh, it's not letting me store that other mystery goo. Oh well. That sucks, but oh well. We'll be back at some point and we'll get more. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let go and press my RCS, and then let's go plant a flag. And I'm pressing my shift key so I don't fall. Excellent. We are on the moon. Boots on the ground. And we want to take a surface sample. 96 science for that. And we want to plant a flag. Alright, this is going to be Moon Landing Site Alpha. There we go. We want to get a screenshot of that. Alright. Now, I want to see if there's a moonstone, maybe over here. I think there's something over there too. I think that stone there will work, because we can get a lot of science from those. Let's fly over there. Now you gotta be careful with these flying with these RCS, because you can really get up some. See, I'm already going 10 meters a second. If you hit the ground at that speed, you'll roll for days. I want to watch my monopropellant. I want to make sure I don't run out. Then we're going to be walking, slow walking all the way back. Alright, now before I land at this stone, I'm going to reverse and slow us down. Oh, I don't think this one's going to work. That's not one of the stones we're looking for. Pretty sure. I think it's going to have to be one of these small ones. Oh, this is the one I was going for over here. Some kind of little crater. A lot of stars. Alright. This one ought to do it. Walk so slow. Pick up moonstone. There we go. It's a big stone to be carrying around. 96 science for that. I think this is the real sky, because I believe if you're looking at this these stars here, that's Orion. There's his belt, there's his shoulder right there. This is, I think, supposed to be his sword sheath. So I think they actually have real star pattern in the sky up here. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the ship and see if we can get back home. Now, getting back inside the ship is always a trick for me. Because I'm not the best at this, controlling this RCS on these jetpacks. And we don't unlock ladders. Apparently ladders is a really high-tech research, so we don't get ladders yet. And even then, sometimes they're kind of buggy, so you gotta test them before you use them. It's almost like docking with another ship. And I gotta be careful, if I hit it too hard, I'll push the whole rocket over. Just missed it. See if I can get right in front of it. I had it. And store experiments. So we can't get the mystery goo. It's the only thing that's not letting us store. Everything else is good to go. Alright, so that's that part done. And now we have this next part. Can be a bit harrowing. Taking off. Now we gotta take off and get back into orbit without burning through all of our delta V. So we want to try to keep this under 600 delta V. So if we're sitting at 1300 now, I'd like to have 700 left after this takeoff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Z, SAS on. I'm going to press Z and I'm going to try to reorient myself. I want to go toward the 90-degree heading. We're currently heading at 230. So you got to try to orient yourself. Let's just do it and see. It's just going to throttle up about halfway. I'm going to turn my nav ball to where my 90 is to my right. Watch that apoapsis because we don't need to get it ridiculously high. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Alright, that's what we want right there. I'm going to go towards the horizon now. We got pretty high apoapsis right here, so I'm going to kill my engines. And let's set a maneuver. And go prograde to get us back into orbit here. Maybe. It's taking a lot. Maybe we won't. Okay. Let's clear this out. Let's get this closer. Only got 900 delta V left. It'll take 400 to achieve this. And that'll leave us 500. I wanted 700. I don't know if we can get back to the Kerbin with 500, which maybe I can do this a little more efficiently than this. Let's see if I can get lined up here. I need to be on the horizon. So I think I went a little too high up before I cut my engines. If I'm efficient with this, maybe we can make it back to Kerbin. Just gonna slowly start burning here. The other problem is our heading is off, which I think it's fine. But when we're trying to get our encounter with Kerbin, we probably want to be on a 90-degree heading. We have a positive periapsis, but I don't know if I trust 6 kilometers. I'd like to get that up to maybe 10. I'm going to have to find the most efficient spot to launch back out. I think we can do it with 300. But we'll just have to see. Hopefully we don't have to strand Jed up here. Or Jeb. Alright, that's good. That's a 14. So let's just see what happens if I launch straight off my periapsis. That's where I'll be going the fastest. And what we want to do is launch prograde. And get this periapsis down to, hopefully I can get it to 35. Ooh, cutting it close. I only have 493 delta V here. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna make it. If I get this down to 30 kilometers, that will, I know that will land. It's gonna take 330, and we got 490, so we got a little room for error, but not a lot. So that is a full prograde maneuver, so let's go ahead and position to prograde. I think everything's looking good here. I'm going to go ahead and warp to that maneuver. Goodbye, moon. Alright. I'm on my mark. I'm going to time warp a little bit. This will take 16 seconds. So like all the other times, once I get close, I'll reduce thrust. And dial it in a little more exact. Just don't have a lot of room for error here. $600, $500, $400, $300. 70, 60, 50, 40. Okay. Perfect. I think we're going to make it. It is excellent. Got 30 kilometer periapsis with Kerbal. Let's warp to our escape. We'll be coming around this way. It's kind of freaking out on me a little bit here. Alright, we have our orbit with, why do I have this? Let's just close that out for a minute. I don't have any maneuver nodes up, I don't know why it's... Let's see, let's go ahead and warp to here. I think it's trying to give me another encounter or something. There we go. Alright, let's head home. I'll get closer and then I'll make sure everything still looks good, and I'll get rid of our lander section. touch down, hopefully somewhere safe. We're still quite a ways out. Still have a 30-kilometer periapsis. Just a little time warping here. It's going to be landing at night, unfortunately. I don't know where we're going to touch down at. Hopefully not in the mountains. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and separate this section. Just going to point it right at Kerbin. Separate. Go back to retrograde with our capsule. And let's get into the atmosphere. And I just turn to SAS off. We'll just let this naturally float down using the aerodynamics of the capsule. Moving 3,200 meters a second. It's pretty fast, but should be fine. Sorry about the darkness, you can't see anything here. I left the light on, that just doesn't help much. The only way to deal with the... Oh, I see mountains. That is unfortunate. After all that, are we going to roll down the side of this mountain? I'm worried about my parachute deploying. Okay. I can't tell how. Maybe it'll stop rolling. Can we get a crew report over here? Yeah, there's some science. I'll do an EVA and a surface sample too if we don't go rolling down the side here. Nice. Pretty solid. EVA report. Oh, must already have mountains. I don't have a surface sample though, so we'll take that. And board up and recover. And we did it. We've walked on the moon. So much science did we get? 443. It's not terrible. Probably could have squeezed a little more out of that, but we'll take it. So we achieved, we got a flag on the moon. So I'll have to go back and look at the timestamp. I tried to catch it before the flag kicked on to see what time it was. I guess we'll go with this date this year, day 27. But anyway, that was a successful moon trip. Thanks for watching. If you want to keep following this episode, this series, just give me a like and a subscribe. And we will see you in the next video.